Good morning and welcome to this morning's session on the October Wave release for Customer Insight. So this is the last webinar in our series that we've been holding this week on the October Wave releases, covering Business Central, Sales and Customer Service, Power Platform, and now Customer Insights Journeys. So I'm Jenny Tomlinson and I'm the marketing manager here at Mhance, and I'm joined by my colleague Kieran Reynolds, who's a Dynamics consultant. So just before I hand over to Kieran, just to go, if you've been on an Mhance webinar before, you'll be well versed in this, just a few housekeeping items. So you are set to listen only mode and will be for the duration of the webinar. So if you do have any questions, we encourage you to just pop them in the Q&A, which you can find at the top of the tab at the top of your screen. Just pop them in there and we'll get to them if we can at the end of the session. The session is being recorded, so if you want to review on demand or you want to share with any of your team, then you can do. We'll send you the link to the recording afterwards, either this afternoon or tomorrow. So that's all the housekeeping that I need to go through. So with that, I can hand over to you, Kieran.
Thanks, Jenny. Good morning, guys. Just thought I'd pop myself on screen so you can see me as I'm talking through. So yeah, as Jenny mentioned, I am a Dynamics consultant. I'm not sure if I've worked with anybody on this call before. We were kind of going through the clients that are joining us today, and I didn't recognize any of the names. But if there is anybody here I have worked with, then yeah, nice to see you again, even though I can't see you. So yeah, we'll be going through the Wave release for Customer Insights, specifically journeys. We won't be covering Customer Insights data, which is a different beast altogether. So I'll be talking you through what's currently out in public preview, what's going to be available fully in the next couple of months. Unfortunately, there's not too much that I can show you within Customer Insights at the moment. There is the odd thing here and there, but it'll mostly be just me kind of talking to you about these features and what I potentially foresee happening. Usually if a feature's released, there could be something else that kind of is a bit of a knock-on effect, if you will. So we will get started. So we've already been through this, Kieran and Jenny with you today. Just discuss the agenda, so run through the highlights, discussed features, and the upcoming features. Okay. So first of all, Copilot powered voice conversations. So this will be available from next month. This in particular is an integration with another product within the Dynamics stack called Contact Center. So for anybody that isn't aware, Contact Center is primarily for customer service. It used to be called Omnichannel, so it's for agents dealing with live chats, phone calls, cases, all that kind of stuff. So apologies for the quality of the images. I've pulled these from the Microsoft documentation. They are a little bit blurry, but hopefully you should be able to make out on the, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but under AI powered conversations, just about halfway down, you've got voice conversation, which is a new tile within the actions of the journeys. So as mentioned, this is a seamless integration with the contact center. So with this tile, you're going to be able to include voice messages within the journeys, and then you'll be able to view detailed engagement metrics. So how many attempts it took for them to pick up, what the result of the call was. In Contact Center, you have AI that can determine the tone of the call, so if it was positive, if it was negative. So I'd imagine that all of those would be included in the metrics. So it could be pretty interesting. Like I said, in terms of kind of knock-on effects, if there'd be anything else that would be released on top of this, I wonder if they would eventually make this not just specific to Contact Center and would allow journeys. If you've just got customer insights journeys, you don't have contact center, whether you'd be allowed to make use of this tile. So it could be interesting in the future. Create journeys by using Copilot. This has been in preview since May last year. So if you've been on the last couple of webinars with myself, then you've probably already seen this in action. If you are Customer Insights users, then you've probably already seen this as well. It is finally going to be available generally at the end of this year, so it'll be taken out of preview. Out of preview basically just means it's now fully supported, so you'll be able to raise support queries with Microsoft. When it's generally available, it tends to be the kind of finished article, so it should be the best version of itself. So I can quickly show you this in our demo environment, but basically what it is it allows you to use natural language to describe the journey that you want to create. You're then able to see a preview, and you get a summary of what it's tried to create. So you can see in the image, you've got a little text box at the bottom where you can describe what you want, and then it'll go ahead and create those tiles for you. So what I'll do is I'll just very quickly show you this in action. So when I go to Customer Insights and I go to Journeys, when I click on New Journey, I'm greeted with the Copilot logo, and it asks me what I want to do. I want to describe the journey. I have got the option to kind of ignore that and skip and create from blank. I can choose some examples that have been preset for me, or I can type myself. So what I can do is say something like send an email to a segment if they click on a link within 7 days, send another email, and if not, create a task. So what this will do is it should ask me to choose a segment. It was quite vague, so it won't know what segment that I want to send the journey to. So I'll just choose attended an event. And when I click submit, you can see here it's given me a summary of what it thinks I want. And then in the preview, it's given me basically the tiles, which I can then go in and populate. So I can say, yeah, I'm happy with how that looks. So I can create journey. So you can see based on the language I've used, it's given me the segment which I selected. It's given me the email, which I then have to populate with the email that I actually want to send. It's given me an if condition. So if an email is clicked, it's got the 7 days, which are specified. And then it's given me the email, which again, I have to populate. And it's also given me a task that I can create. Okay, so it doesn't do everything for you. It gives you the starting points, and then you can go in and actually populate everything. I mean, in theory, it wouldn't take this long to build, kind of on your own. It might get to the point where it will actually start to try and populate some of the emails in the segment for you. So, like I said, when it becomes generally available at the end of this year, it will be the finished version, or kind of the first finished iteration at least. So it could become more powerful than what it is at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that one. So I'll just jump back to my PowerPoint. So this one, apologies, trigger happy there. So automate scalable journey creation. So this one, it took me a while to get my head around how this one would work, even with the documentation that Microsoft provided. So basically, first of all, it's available as of next month. So what this will allow you to do is there's going to be an API that we're able to use, and it will give us the flexibility to automate journey creations. So the examples that were given in the documentation were about if you're kind of a multinational organization and you want to send emails in various different languages, that would have to be. So let's say you've got a journey for the UK, a journey for, let's say, France and Spain, etc. You would have to create those journeys one by one with the emails. Within the, in their different languages. So what this will allow you to do is automatically create a series of journeys and workflows by using those segments and messages. So rather than you having to create them all manually, it will create the various different versions for you, which is going to be interesting. So like I said, at the moment, you can see here, it allows you to alter things like the time zone, segment, and messages to match the language and geography. So I'm wondering what this is actually going to look like in the real world, if it's only going to be kind of for that use case, or there's going to be different scenarios that we can use it in. So another scenario it's given here is it'll be something that you can launch when a specific event occurs. So when the lottery events are posted, this is all Microsoft. This is an example that I've given. Yeah, like I said, generate a series of journeys that support event life cycles is another example. So invitations, reminders, confirmations when an event has been created. So again, it sounds like it's going to be making use of kind of Copilot and AI just to remove some of that kind of manual work. So this one is available as of next month. I will be having a little play around with this one because I'm interested to see how it will actually work in practice and if it will be kind of usable for other kind of business cases or use cases. So next up, we have 200,000 member static segments. So this one again, I'm quite interested to see how it will work in practice. So kind of a headline, it doesn't sound that interesting. This one is in preview next month. There wasn't a general availability date set. So as far as bullet point goes, uploading a CSV to match contacts or leads in Dataverse, that's kind of standard, nothing too fancy going on there. Using the API to upload a CSV file and match contacts or leads, it's basically the same thing, just with a different using different words, and then selecting contacts or leads directly from the Dataverse grid. So that is kind of standard at the moment. The bit that I found interesting that I haven't included on this slide, but was as part of the article, is it says this feature enables marketers to build static segments with up to 200,000 members using data from any source. Marketers can upload CSV files, use the API to create segments as part of a workflow, or as it says in the PowerPoint, or select contacts from a Dataverse view. So the bit that I'm particularly interested in here is being able to create a segment using data from any source. At the moment, a segment has to be built based on contacts or leads, but the language that they've used there is leading me to believe that we can just have a list of maybe email addresses that we've pulled from our various different systems that our clients do tend to have, and maybe they could start using customer insights to send out kind of a one-time email to people that don't necessarily sit in the system. That's just my interpretation of the language. As it says in the kind of bullet points, it does seem to focus on matching records to contacts or leads, but then in the documentation it also says being able to use data from any source. So definitely one to keep an eye on. It's publicly it'll be in preview next month, so definitely one I'll be having a little play around with just to understand that one a little bit better. This one is something that we will be interested in internally, the improvement of the events module within Customer Insights. So, maybe we're not going to be looking to do online events with up to 10,000 attendees, but who knows? So yeah, in the future, you'll be able to make use of Town Hall is Microsoft's kind of big webinar Teams platform. So they'll be making use of that within the events module in Customer Insights. So you'll be able to have up to 10,000 attendees on one call at any given time. Again, just removing some of the manual processes. They've said that we'll be able to automatically send personalized invitation based on data and triggers. Track attendance and engagement within Customer Insights for post follow-up, and then publish the video, the recording of the video for people who've missed the event. So again, the bits that are kind of interesting, and apologies for the low resolution image, but the being able to track attendance and engagement within Customer Insights for post follow-up, I'll be interested to see if they've managed to crack the automation of check-ins. So at the moment, if you created an event in Customer Insights, you could anybody that's that signed up, they would be created as an event registration, which is great. That's all automatic. There's no input required from users. But then if somebody did join the event, it wouldn't automatically, the webinar this is, it wouldn't automatically create a check-in record. So I'd be interested to see if when we create an online event, if the registrant then does actually attend the webinar, if it'll automatically create a check-in record so we could easily see who had attended rather than it being a manual process. So that would be really useful. This one is available in November, so we've got a little bit longer to wait, but yeah, could be a really exciting one for our events team. Apologies, skipped ahead. So being able to export copies of sent emails. So at the moment, basically all the data within Customer Insights is pretty locked down because it doesn't technically exist in Dataverse. It's not like your contacts or your leads where you can just click a button and export them all into Excel and then do whatever you need to do. The way the data works in Customer Insights is set up slightly different to help with things like storage. But what this is allowing you to do is using an API to export copies of sent emails, which would include the personalization and any conditional content that was included. So at the moment, the only place you can see the exact email that was sent to a person was by going on to the contact record, and then in the timeline that you can see in this image, you'd be able to see the email that was sent. And then they did release a feature that allowed you to see the exact sent copy, so any personalization and conditional content. And they seem to have taken that one step further now by giving us access to the export API to actually grab any of those emails that were sent. So we'll be able to schedule exports, choose the emails that you want to export, and you can integrate with existing archiving systems. They've not specified what systems, but if it's an API, then we should be able to connect basically anything to it. So the reason they've given is for compliance. This could be interesting for some of our clients. So again, one to keep an eye on. This one will be available as of December. There's no public preview for this one, so it should just become available. Next up, we've got set expirations on communications. So again, the image isn't the best, but as you can see in the image of the journey, we've selected an email, and then in the bottom right, you've got an expiration section, which is new. So you can either set expiration based on a specific date or time, or as it says in the bullet points, you'll also have the option to select a trigger. So I'm assuming that this means we'll be able to use a dynamic time based on a trigger. So let's say the trigger is somebody signing up for an event, and maybe we've got an email for, I don't know, some kind of early bird VIP special, wherever you want to upgrade a ticket to an event, then you've got a week to do so. And if not, then the email expires. So there could be some interesting use cases for that. But yeah, pretty basic. You're able to select an expiry date. So if somebody enters the journey and that email is expired, what I'm assuming will happen is it'll just basically skip that and move over to the next step. You do have review analytics, so it'll basically give you the reason why that person didn't receive the message. Mostly it'll probably be down to obviously the date, but if it's related to a particular trigger, it could be quite interesting. This one is in public preview in January. No general availability release as of yet, so I'll definitely be playing around with this one when it comes out. Event registration payment integration. So this one is quite interesting, quite exciting as well, I think. So this one will be in preview next month and will be available at the end of the year. So what you'll be able to do is, you can do at the moment as well, is you can create tickets within your event, and you weren't previously able to assign kind of pricing to them, or there was at least nothing automated about it. So what you're able to do now is create tickets with quantities and prices. You've also got the option to add discount codes like it says there. And then you'll be able to integrate with a payment provider. Stripe was one of the ones I saw in the documentation. And it will allow people to actually pay for those tickets kind of within the event portal, without sending them to a different platform and then having somebody manually, record that one ticket was purchased by, Kieran Reynolds. So this one's interesting. Again, kind of knock-on effect. I'm wondering if maybe Customer Insights will have or will introduce payment integration in other areas. I'm not quite sure, kind of how it'll work, but it could be something that they introduce. Maybe we have checkouts for products in emails. That could be pretty interesting. So event registration periods. So this one will be available next month. Pretty similar to the expiration dates in the emails. So you can set open and close dates for event registrations. So at the moment you have a start date and an end date, but it's purely just kind of reference data for internal purposes. It doesn't have any kind of, automation or business process around it. So what this will allow you to do is, as you can see from the blurry image, again, apologies, is you can set a start date and an end date, and then there's options. You can see the option there, set registration period. So rather than a user having to manually remember to basically deactivate an event that's currently on your portal, the registration period will take care of that for you. So attendees will only be able to register during that period to prevent, kind of last minute surprises, as it says there. And then when the registration period ends, the form will just be automatically disabled. So removing any manual input from users. So again, pretty useful. Create the event portal on your own website. So I'm not sure if we have Customer Insights clients on this call or currently use Customer Insights that maybe used Customer Insights when it was known as marketing. But you used to have an event portal as part of marketing as it was then, but it was very rigid. There were next to no customizations that you could make to it easily. You could just change the image, and that was about it of the header. So what this allows you to do is it basically just gives you kind of full control, and you can put it on your own website. So this one will allow you can see there from the Event Hub image, you can input your URL. It'll then give you a bit of JavaScript, which you'd copy and then put on your website. And then you can manage all of the kind of event registrations and have it all in one place rather than sending people to a completely different platform with a completely different URL. So this one could be pretty interesting for anybody that's looking to record any events that are going to be happening. And then kind of carrying on from that, we've also got event power pages. So this will allow you to use templates within Power Pages to basically create a mini website to house your events. So for anybody that doesn't know, Power Pages is effectively a mini portal. So it's drag and drop. It's pretty easy to use. If you want to start doing fancy stuff with it, then you may need some experience with code and other languages. But for the most part, people can create websites pretty easily, and what they're allowing you to do is use an out-of-the-box template specifically for events, and this should, in theory, sync up with Customer Insights automatically, so you wouldn't have to do any of the kind of funky stuff with connecting it together. So you'd be able to create your portal or Power Page to display upcoming events that would take people through to the registration form, and then obviously in turn with the new integration with Stripe and things like that, you could have everything in kind of one place. So this could be really interesting. You can see there, provide summaries for the event, including any speakers that you may have, registration forms, and then you publish the portal using Power Pages. So if you didn't want to make use of it on your own website, then you could have it separately using Power Pages. So that was about it for this particular release. Release Wave 1 tends to have all the kind of meatier bits. There was I'm not sure if anybody was on the last webinar, but the PowerPoint was quite a bit longer. They're obviously just refining stuff that that were maybe in public preview last time round. But yeah, if you want to read about any of this yourself, the documentation link is in PowerPoint. Jenny, I'm not sure, do we share the PowerPoint with users afterwards?
We can do, yeah, we can share that with the
Okay.
link to the recording, yeah.
Okay. Alternatively, we could just send out the link separately. But yeah, everything that was in this PowerPoint is on the Microsoft release plans for Customer Insights Journeys. And then, yeah, these are some of the future events and webinars. I'm not sure if, Jenny, you want to talk through any of them, or people just take note of what's on screen at the moment.
Sure. So there's no questions at the moment, but if there's a couple of minutes still, if people want to drop those into the Q&A box. One question that I did have, though, Kieran, was from my side was, does any of this, are you, if you're aware of at this stage, if any of the functionality will need to be like switched on physically, or if it'll just appear for people?
So only the things that are in public preview tend to have to be switched on. It's a great question. If I just go back to Customer Insights, hopefully you can see this okay. The PowerPoint is taking up a little bit of the screen, but it's fine. So if I go to settings and feature switches, sometimes there are features that do have to be turned on. So even though they're released, they're not readily available just, the next time you log in. So there are a couple of things that have to be turned on. Things that are in preview tend to appear here, and you can see they're in preview because they've got preview in brackets. But yeah, for the most part, they will become available just kind of the next time you log in, or if you're not seeing them, then if you come to the feature switches, there should be an option for you to turn it on there as well.
Great stuff, thank you. So yeah, if we can move back to those events, that'd be great. And I could just highlight one in particular. Obviously a lot of charity events coming up and lots of conferences, but just to highlight the event that we've got on the 19th of November, that's an Enhance event down in London, a spotlight on Dynamics Data and Copilot. So if you're interested in coming along to that, that's at the Everyman Cinema, really a cinematic theme, great for a marketer having a good theme like that. So if you want to come along, there's a CRM theme and stream, and a finance stream. So if you're interested in having a look at that, have a look at our website, see the agenda on that. But that's everything. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks to Kieran for some really good insights on what's coming up in October and onward for Customer Insights Journeys. Thank you for joining us again, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.